Hello again, everyone. Yesterday, I reviewed what might be Frank Miller's worst work, Holy Terror, and in the video, I acknowledge the fact of his great influence on me as a writer, as an artist, and when he was at his best, he was probably one of the best of his time. And this is one example of that. As a single issue, Daredevil 181. If you haven't read it, I recommend not watching this. It's probably greatest single issue that he ever did. He's done, I guess graphic novels over the years, but he used to do a monthly comic, Daredevil, from issue 158 to 191. And I think he missed one issue there. It was 162, I believe, that Steve Ditko drew. And then he came back, Daredevil 227 to 233. And then he did Daredevil Man Without Fear with John Romita Jr. But this was near the end of his run, about, 20-something issues in, a few years into it. And from the writing to his art, it was just extraordinary. It's a great story. Great writing, and he really busted his ass in the art. And Klaus Janson did a great job. Klaus Janson, he's considered just an inker, but he's an artist as well. He's not as good as when he inks others, but he knows art. He can color, he can pencil, he can ink. But when he was, him and Miller just really worked well together. So, again, if you haven't read it, I don't recommend experiencing it this way. I recommend you reading it. Daredevil 181. So I'm going to just look it over, read some excerpts from it, and go from there. This is, Bullseye, I think, was his main villain in the Daredevil series, at least for a number of issues early on. I think the first, second or third issue he wrote, because he began just drawing Daredevil with 158. He just penciled it to 167. I think he missed issue 162, as I said, with Ditko. And then he started writing from Daredevil 168 to 191. And 191 is also great. Someone in the comments mentioned that was the single greatest issue. I think it's probably second to this, because this is a culmination of his entire run, where a lot of loose ends were brought together, where Elektra and Bullseye were brought together. So here we go. Let me start now. And this is narrated by Bullseye, which was, I think, a first. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to get my watch. Okay, so this is, again, Bullseye. Blam, you're dead. He goes, maybe that's how I'll do it. Just get you in my sights and blow your brains out. Nah, that'd be too quick. And that's his dream of blowing Daredevil's brains out. It's called Last Stand. Frank Miller, story and art. Klaus Janson, finished art and colors. So it's great that the inker himself is coloring it, so he really was involved artistically. It wasn't just an inker. And Bullseye continues. He says, "You've got to suffer first. Oh yeah, I'll break every bone in your body, grind your spine into powder, make every nerve you've got scream in agony, make you pay." Because he basically wants revenge. Daredevil was always kicked his ass. No matter how good he is, Bullseye as a fighter, as an assassin, with his impeccable, how would you call it, his skill, what's the word, precision, with weapons. He can use anything as a weapon, anything, pencils, I guess paper clips even. I think he kills people like that. Seeds from a lemon. Yeah, it's crazy. He's almost mutant-like in that sense. But he goes on about how much he hates him. And then he hates him even worse because Daredevil saved his life at one point. Really like a chump in a lot of ways. He went out of his way to save his life. He almost at his own expense. I could see, if the quote-unquote selfless, altruistic hero wants to do that. But don't put yourself at risk. Because that's what he did with the train. And so he's just dreaming of killing Daredevil. And he's in the prison. And he's getting these excruciating migraine headaches. And whenever he gets them, he's locked up in this thing to make sure his hands are not, they can't be used against anyone. And the cop who gives him the pills that he needs to alleviate the pain always gets it real slow. And always says, yeah. He goes, the pill, give me. He goes, yeah. And the cop even pushes it to the point where he says, it hurts. He goes, yeah. Sort of funny, isn't it? Mr. High and Mighty, Master Assassin, crying like a baby. Maybe they fixed that brain tumor of yours, but you still got headaches, which means you need these pills. And old Harry's the guy what's got him. Let's see. Push the cap down, turn counterclockwise. No, clockwise. He's really pushing it. And he asks Bullseye, feel all better now? Peachy. He goes, you're a dead man, Harry. He goes, yeah. So he blames Daredevil for everything. He goes, you did this to me, Daredevil. You should have let me die. I can't even have a workout now without these headaches, but you can. So he's thinking about Daredevil and doing his workouts. And at the time that he's saying this, Daredevil probably is doing his workouts. So then he's in the yard, in the prison. A guy's walking up, and an inmate says to the guy, he goes, whoa, man, you crazy? That's Bullseye. He'll kill you as soon as look at you. And then the guy recognizes the guy he's speaking to. He goes, hey, are you? You are. I'm gone. And I think that's Turk, actually. Turk and Grotto, which are these hapless criminals that work for the Kingpin sometimes when he doesn't fire them. So I guess it's funny that they're in a prison altogether. So Bullseye tells the guy, he goes, I recognize you. You're the Punisher. You're in the joint for killing guys like me. This your first day? He goes, my third. And Bullseye tells Punisher, Frank Castle, he goes, you've got lots of enemies here, Punisher. 1 week tops, and you'll be leaving in a bag. He goes, could be, but you're staying. Punisher tells him, you've been on good behavior waiting for your old boss, the Kingpin, to break you out. He's not going to. Word on the yard is that he's found a new assassin. Doesn't need you anymore. Bullseye says that. Rotten. Why are you telling me this? Because chances are you'll do something dumb. Get yourself killed. I'd like that. So that's a setup here. And Bullseye goes on his TV show with some idiot talk show host. And he fakes one of those migraines, screams out, and the cop's like, another headache. Let's see, push down on the cap. He goes, hurry, it's worse this time. Yeah. So he says, thanks, and he spits the pill in the cop's eye, calls him sucker. And when the cop shoots, he goes, that's it, shoot for the gut. He was counting on that, so he, gets his chains blown out. He gets free. The guy says, I'm taking no chances. He goes, hit the chain, and which he does. So he makes his escape, takes the talk show host, and he sees the cop, Harry. And he realizes, gee, I almost forgot. As Bullseye's walking away, he goes, Harry, I made you a promise, Harry, remember? He goes, Bullseye, please don't. Yeah. Blam! Bullseye kills him. And he goes, that was dumb. Fun, but dumb. Only 2 bullets left in a gun now, and no time to grab another one. I make it down and out to the yard. So he makes his escape. Uses the gun to hit the cop's head, the shooter's head, the sniper. Gets up on the helicopter, throws out the pilot, and flies away. And then he thinks about Daredevil, and what he's thinking about after Bullseye escaped. And the way he puts it, he goes, "I bet you're coming home from wherever it is you work in your secret identity. Bet you're tired too. You want to relax, have a beer, listen to the radio. Maybe you're hearing about my escape right now. Maybe it doesn't scare you. Maybe nothing scares you. But worried? You've got to be worried." He goes, "So you've come looking for me, Daredevil. Check every nook and cranny. And watch the shadows, because me, I'll be in one of them. Only you won't know it till I've got you. Just wait." So Bullseye goes to, what is he, Slaughter? I think one of these guys. I forgot his name. Mr. Slaughter. It's funny, sometimes this happened with Miller and Jansen. I don't know if it was on purpose, but you got a guy with no mustache here, then all of a sudden he has a mustache there. At least it looks like one. I don't know if it's a mistake or on purpose for some reason. So it goes on, and then Slaughter tells Bullseye, after Bullseye takes out, Mr. Slaughter's assassins. He goes, "Excellent, I see you've kept in shape. The one you doubtless seek is a former ninja, a woman named Elektra. The only lead I can give you is that she has been instructed to eliminate an attorney named Franklin Nelson. Cigar?" So this right here, this is Miller at his best. Something was off the grid, not in mainstream comics really, the way he designed the page, first of all. This is one shot, fully broken into a number of panels, dominated by the laughter. It's awesome. The laughter onto its own has its own panel. And it's worth reading this. I'll skip through a few more, but it's worth reading this entire thing. So he's drinking, he's reading some, info about Matt Murdock, about Franklin Nelson, his partner, about Elektra. And he goes, this is Bullseye talking, he goes, "I just got the craziest idea. You see, he goes, no, I ought to start at the beginning. Old man Slaughter lends me a couple of his boys. Guess he's more scared of me than the Kingpin, for now anyway. Anyway, the boys put together files on that Nelson shyster and his partner Matt Murdock. So I squirreled myself away in his Fleabag hotel to do some homework. Maybe it's the booze, or maybe I'm just tired. But I'm looking real hard at this photo of Murdock, see? And I start thinking about how much he looks like you, Daredevil. And I read about how tight you are with Murdock. And I wonder if you're both the same guy. And then I read, get this, that Matt Murdock is blind. Wouldn't that be a kick? Daredevil, the blind superhero. Like I said, crazy idea. And if you don't know, which you should, I guess, if you're even watching this video, Matt Murdock is blind, but he was struck in the eyes by a radioactive isotope when he was a kid. So his remaining senses have been heightened. He can smell better, he can hear better, he can even read newspapers because he can actually feel the ink on the pages. That's how sensitive he is. And he also has a radar sense, which is like he can actually see, if I remember correctly, he can see around his entire area, behind him, above, on the sides, and he can sense objects. He can even see, I guess, the outlines of objects. That's as good as he can see. In the TV series, and at least in the Netflix series, they had a really interesting way of doing it. I think everything, he said, it looks like the world on fire. They made it look red because of to fit in with the Red Devil and all that. So then, Bullseye goes to court. He sees Murdock. He's a defense attorney doing a case. And he goes, how crazy I realize, when he goes, like I said, crazy idea to think that Murdock is Daredevil. He goes, how crazy I realize when I catch Murdock's act the next day in court. I mean, you aren't what I'd call a chatterbox. He goes, you aren't what I'd call a chatterbox, but him. And, he goes on. And as Franklin Nelson, Foggy, is walking away, Bullseye, I guess with the hat there in a disguise, he goes, nice work, Constable. He goes, thanks. He slaps something on him to, I guess, track him. So he goes up to a cab. Bullseye. He goes, follow that cab. He goes, get lost, I'm off duty. You hear me, Jack? That's off. Kills him with the playing card. And then Foggy is picked up by Elektra, who is just paid to kill him by the Kingpin. And she says, I have been hired to kill you, Mr. Nelson. And Bullseye is driving behind them. He goes, it's her. It's got to be Elektra. He goes, be silent, be calm. You will feel no pain. And Foggy's freaking out. This can't be happening. It can't. Oh, please, no. Why are you doing this? He goes, please explain why. I don't even know you. He goes, yes, I do. I've seen you before. He goes, in college, you were Matt's girl, Elektra. He goes, I don't understand any of this. What are you? She goes, get out of here. Her one weakness, she has tried to rid herself of any kind of goodness, passion, love, any kind of guilt feelings for what she does. She's a paid assassin for the Kingpin now. After her father was killed, she basically rejected the world. But she still has a soft spot for Matthew Murdock, Daredevil. And I guess through his friend, because she can't do it. She can't bring herself to do it. She knows she has to at her job, but she can't. So she's emotionally distraught, and Bullseye takes advantage of that. Tries to come up from behind her. She detects him, kicks him in the head. They get into a scrap, pretty brutal, and they're going at it. And he says, "Criminy." Bullseye says, "The lady is good. Slaughter said she's been trained as a ninja. She'll probably use the darkness, sneak up behind me." And she does, so he starts, wailing on her. He gets the upper hand, though. Bashes her in the head, and he goes, "Put up pretty good fight, Toots. You're pretty good, but me, I'm magic." Takes that card, flicks it to her, right in the throat. And again, look at Miller. The artwork, the storytelling, it's great. It's great. And he walks up to her, he says, "And for my next trick," plunges her sai into her, uses her weapon against her. So she's bleeding out, falls down, gets back up, and Bullseye puts his disguise on. He starts following her. She walks up to Matt Murdock's apartment. She says, "Matt," and they've been, clearly estranged. He's been trying to bring her in. He's on the side of the law, even though he's a vigilante. Technically speaking, he's a criminal. But she's rejected him, even when he was trying to get, when he got soft a little, he was still thinking he could save her and bring her back, but he couldn't. But she's the first person she goes to, even in this stage. So he grabs her, and Bullseye's watching. Like, what the hell is this about? Maybe that's not so crazy, his idea. So then he repeats what Foggy said. He goes, "Matt's girl. That's what Nelson called her." Guess it was true. He goes, "More and more, I get the feeling that there's something funny about Murdock. Maybe something that can help me kill you, Daredevil." And the doctor tells Matt and Foggy, Elektra's dead. He says, "Contusions on face and body, broken jaw, laceration of throat, heart pierced by something metal." He goes, "Knife more than likely. You knew her?" And the lettering is very deliberate there, smaller than the rest. A little more like straight. He goes, "Yes, her name was Elektra Nachos." And the color, Klaus Janson did a great job, made her blue, dead skin. And then a guy goes behind Bullseye and says, "Hey, I haven't seen you around here before." He goes, "I'm new. Got McCaffrey's old job, the cabbie that he killed." And then Matt Murdock turns around at the sound of Bullseye's voice. I think Benjamin Poindexter, that's Bullseye's name. And he turns around, and Bullseye notices. He goes, "Then it happens. Murdock jumps like a stuck pig just when he hears me speak, like he recognizes my voice." Because suddenly that crazy idea I had about you being him doesn't seem so crazy. And the guy says, McCaffrey quit. He won't be back. Too bad, nice guy. And then Foggy says, Matt, I think we should be going. Matt? Clearly, Matt's, he heard Bullseye's voice. Now, keep in mind, he has super hearing. So he knows that's Bullseye. He also can hear his heartbeat and get his sense, his, whatever smell he has, he can detect it. So then Bullseye wants to test out something. He says, Murdoch turns back to the stiff, tries to pretend he doesn't know I'm here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just heard my voice on TV and he's scared of me like everybody else. Maybe. No harm in finding out. So he takes a knife from the table right there, flings it at Murdoch's head. And Murdoch takes his cane and blocks it. And Bullseye is out of there. He says, then I'm running out of there before you can track me, before you can make excuses to protect your precious secret identity. Got news for you, Matty boy. It's blown. What a great scene. And what great dialogue. This entire scene is so well drawn, so well told. This is Miller at his best, peak. I got so into this, I just want to read this because this is a really, really, really good dialogue here too. He goes to the Kingpin, basically tell him that I took out your assassin, so I guess I'll fill in her spot. But he tells him something that makes the Kingpin think he's gone crazy. So then he goes by, the next evening, Slaughter's boys have gathered information from me piece by piece, none of them aware of the whole beautiful story. And Bullseye tells Kingpin, Daredevil is Matt Murdock. Kingpin says, the attorney? The blind attorney? You are not well, Bullseye. And Bullseye says, I'm fine, Kingpin, fit as a fiddle. Just think about how much grief old Hornhead has caused you. He goes, he has cost me much. He has cost me much. Only recently he thwarted an operation of tremendous potential. He stopped me from expanding my control over the city's government. He is a canny opponent, but blind? He goes, hear me out. When he was just a kid, Murdoch was struck across the eyes and blinded by a radioactive isotope. It was in all the papers. He goes, it was all in the papers. He goes, but it's the medical reports where it gets interesting. The docs noticed unusual brain activity, and he seemed overly sensitive to sound and smell. Then the symptoms went away, and the docs shrugged their shoulders and sent him home. Now suppose, just suppose, he was faking his recovery. Suppose that radiation made him smell, taste, and hear better than anybody on Earth. Suppose, Kingpin says, you can stop now. But there's more. His father, he goes, that is the most preposterous story I have ever heard. And a pathetic ploy on your part to convince me to reinstate you as my chief assassin. Bring me Daredevil's body, and we will do business. And again, I just want to appreciate the storytelling here, the page layout, the characters, the way they're drawn, the acting that Miller gave to a Bullseye. It's fantastic. Again, Miller at his best. So Miller, actually Bullseye goes to visit Daredevil as Matt Murdock. He goes into his apartment, into his townhouse, and he hears that Matt Murdock is he's reading as a lawyer. He's doing some work, and right before he's about to shoot him, a red hand touches his shoulder. He says, "No, it can't be. I was so sure." And of course, it was a dummy, a voice recording. He goes, "You set me up, that's it. Somehow you rigged that stunt in a morgue with your buddy Murdoch somehow, and like a dummy, I fell for it." He goes, "So you aren't Matt Murdock. I'll still get you. But I can't do it here. You probably know this place like the back of your hand. Come on, DD, follow me outside. Got a surprise for you." He goes, "Of course it'd mean more to you if you were Murdoch." then I'd be using your old lady's weapons against your billy club. Damn, that's good stuff, because he, no matter where she turned evil. Matt, he still loved her. And he's in pain, and he's angry. And he's really hurting, putting the hurt on a bullseye more than usual. So they go at it left and right. Around the train. They get on this telephone wire. Daredevil jumps up, knowing that he's not as agile as he is. And Bullseye screams out, "No! You won't save me, not like before. Kill you, I'll kill." Daredevil lets him go. He goes, "You'll kill no one, ever again." Boom. And he's paralyzed. "Don't bet on it," Bullseye says. "By now, the Kingpin has been told about what happened. He's probably sure, just like everybody else is, that I'm out of action for good. Probably already started looking for a new hitman. He'll need one, without me and without Elektra. Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot. Maybe I didn't get you this time, Daredevil, but I got her, didn't I? I got her good. I wish that hurt you. I wish she'd been yours, so that you'd spend long, lonely nights staring at the ceiling thinking about her. But you can't win them all. Because meanwhile, there's your buddy Murdoch, who helped you beat me. How does he feel?" Heart-wrenching. Matt is, he's hurting. And Bullseye's here. He's like, "You just got lucky, that's all. I could have beat you. I almost did. Next time I'll..." "Oh, sure, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking there won't be a next time. You're wrong, Daredevil. Dead wrong. Prison couldn't stop me, and neither can this prison you made of my body. My spine is shattered. I can't feel my arms or legs. I can't even talk. But man, can I hate. I hate you more than ever, and that'll be enough. No matter how many months and years it takes, I'm going to put myself back together, and then I'll come for you again. Just wait." I thought I was just going to do that, but let me actually do a little here. There's a moment here which really, it got me. Years ago when I first read it. And also, I might just look over issue 191 as well. There was like, "She's alive." About Elektra. "She's alive. No, that's crazy. Elektra's dead. She died in my arms." And again, look at this art. Miller at his best. His anatomy wasn't always the best. It's not a John Buscema, let's say, but it's a little thick there, but still. Look at that. It's like a movie. The lighting, the shading. I think Klaus Janson really added some stuff there. So yeah, he thought he heard Elektra's heartbeat, right? I mean, look at this. That's really, really good. And he tells the Kingpin, "I want Elektra, Kingpin. She served you as your chief assassin, helped you maintain your control over the mobs, and now you're helping her hide from me." And Daredevil, I think he's losing it emotionally. He hasn't been the same since she died, however long it was between last issue and this one. And Daredevil says, "His heartbeat, it jumped just then. But is that because he's afraid or simply astonished?" Kingpin says, "Daredevil, are you ill?" He goes, "I'm fine. Now, do you tell me the truth before or after I beat you senseless?" He goes, "Now I understand. This is some elaborate joke, is it not? The Daredevil I know would never resort to unprovoked violence simply to test a theory, would he?" So he walks away. And then Foggy gets a phone call, something that Matt is up to, and he's shocked. He goes, "What? What?" He goes, "Yes, Your Honor. I mean, no, Your Honor. I don't understand either. Yes, Your Honor. I'll speak to him. I'm sorry. Hello?" And Foggy's wife says, "What's the matter, darling? You're white as a sheet." He goes, "It's Matt. He just got Judge Coffin out of bed and tried to make him sign an exhumation order to exhume Elektra's body at the cemetery. Because once Elektra dug up, but that's crazy. That's what scares me. I've got to find him. And this is where the Punisher continues his story in the Daredevil. So Matt is trying to dig up Elektra's body. He goes, the hero failed, the lawyer failed, but the man will find you, Elektra. Find you and punish you for what you've done to me. He just can't handle the loss. I'll prove you're still alive, that I'll hunt you to the end of the earth. So he takes her coffin, cracks it open, and he smells a horrific smell. That smell, awful. Okay, all right. Whoever's in there is dead. But is it you, Elektra? Is it? I can't see, but my hands know your face. Even after all these years, I could never forget. And a huge no comes out of there. I'd like to believe it doesn't sound like Darth Vader, no, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but let's just say he's screaming out. And Foggy says, Matt, I found. He goes, dead. She's dead, Foggy. She's dead. It's Elektra and she's dead. He goes, Matt, I'll take you home. Foggy, she's dead. I loved her, Foggy. I loved her. Great stuff. And then, of course, being an artist, I look at that. The hands are way too small for a man over a woman's face. But again, that's one thing about being able to write and draw. You just become overly critical, even about good stuff like this. But yeah, I just want to, look over some of the stuff and also go to issue. I mean, look at that. That's really good. It's good stuff. Yeah. Miller brought in Punisher. He more or less revived him. I think he was a stagnant character by this point. But after this, he got his own series, that Mike Zeck drew, which is really good. And then Mike Barron, he started writing him. Chuck Dixon. It's great stuff. So let me go to his final issue before he came back for Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil 191. So it was 181, 191. Arguably the two best. Again, someone in the comment section on my YouTube video for Daredevil 230 called this one his favorite, or the best, as I called 181 the best. But this is, I think, the second best in terms of a single issue, not in a run, because there was a Kingpin story that lasted for like 3 or 4 issues, Elektra story, which ran throughout, but single issue stories that are, all in one story. So this is still, he can't get over. And again, if you haven't read it, I wouldn't recommend going on here, because Daredevil, in his own way, he finds a way. He finds a way to bring Elektra back. Ninja style. Somehow he figured it out, right? With his love, with some things he learned from Stick, his master. And Stone is about to kill her at one point, and he goes, so it ends. Wait, what? Something about her. She is clean. How? It was Murdoch. Somehow, in his futile attempt to revive her, he has purged her. She is clean, and I am wary. I am wary. Daredevil cleansed her of her evil somehow. It got a little mystical at the end, near the end of this run for Frank Miller. He was basically, it was a crime comic book, and then it got into ninjas and the mystic arts and martial arts. But he ended up saving her. And she's wearing white now, not red. Anyway, so Daredevil 191, how does a man search for his own soul? And this is Daredevil visiting Bullseye in the hospital. And he talks about the .38 caliber revolver. And he puts it to his head, pulls the trigger. It's called roulette. Now, this is different than every other issue that Frank Miller drew in Daredevil, because Klaus Janson inked every one. And this one you had Terry Austin, who was the premier inker in the 80s. He was hands down the greatest inker. He inked John Byrne over the X-Men. Whoever he inked looked better than they ever did. It's like John Romita Sr. in that way. But he was just an inker, even though he did do some pin-ups and stuff in Marvel Fanfare. But man, he's a really great inker. And you could tell here. So, Daredevil puts a gun to his head, pulls the trigger. And he's talking, he's Daredevil was narrating this story, unlike 181. He goes, "You must be wondering why I came here, Bullseye. Why Daredevil, man without fear, idol of millions, wastes a lovely autumn evening in the company of his deadliest enemy. The answer is simple enough. I'm here to play a game with you. It's called roulette, but not the kind that you play in a casino. Traditionally, roulette takes 1 bullet, 1 gun, and 2 idiots. That's us. The 2 idiots take turns pointing the pistol at their own heads and pulling the trigger. The lucky idiot lives. You feel lucky, Bullseye? It's your turn." This is Miller channeling, I think, Dirty Harry. "You feel lucky, punk? Well, do ya?" Remember the one scene in Dirty Harry, in that bank robbery, where he's shooting and the guy, one of the robbers, I think he shot him and he's on the ground and his shotgun is next to him. And, Dirty Harry's walking up and he steps and takes the shotgun, and then the criminal says basically about the bullets. Does he have any bullets left? Could he had a chance? Could he have had a chance to get that gun and blow away Dirty Harry? And as the cop put it, it was a black guy. He was a black actor who played, I think, in all the Dirty Harry movies, but he played different characters. He played friends of Dirty Harry. He played criminals. Pretty funny. But he says, I've got to know. So he had to know if he had a shot at taking out Dirty Harry. So Dirty Harry listens. He turns back around. He puts the gun, points it at the guy, and pulls the trigger. And it's empty. And the guy's like, "You mother." And Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry smiles, walks away. That's the way he had tested out if he had bullets in his gun or not. Anyway, so you feel lucky, Bullseye? It's your turn. Look at that art. Terry Austin's inking. Very different than Jansen. Very different. Click. So he shot himself, he shot him. So far, nothing. And Bullseye looks shocked out of his wits. He can't believe Daredevil's doing this. Daredevil's a good guy, right? "Quote unquote, good guys don't kill." Even though our soldiers kill, even though, our soldiers our heroic soldiers have killed jihadists. It's a liberal myth, a leftist myth that heroes don't kill. They impose that on these superheroes. Sometimes, hey, you got to kill. You got to kill that bad guy who's shooting up a whole bunch of innocent people. If the only way you can stop him is by killing him, you do that. And you feel no guilt about it. But they always impose these stupid ideas of guilt on these superheroes. And usually, again, it's a leftist hack writer who does that. So he goes on and he's talking to him. And then he starts telling him about a story about this kid, Chucky. And this is one of Matt Murdock's clients. He goes to see him. He goes, I think Chucky's father goes, "I was my secret identity as Matt Murdock, first-class attorney, when I met Chucky." Now, I'm not sure if he's telling Bullseye this. I doubt it. I think he's just telling the reader this, but it seems like he is. I don't know if he actually did realize that he was Matt Murdock, but this is his last issue, Miller, so I guess he's on his way to... I think at this point he's on his way to doing Ronin for DC. And then The Dark Knight Returns right after, which I will definitely discuss on my channel as well. I think issue by issue, I have the Absolute Edition, I have the Artist Edition, the huge one, and I also have these comic book-sized hardcover versions of each issue within a box set. It's beautiful. I think I'll read that one. Anyway, so he's going here, and he goes, "Mr. Murdock, come in. So glad you could come by. Guess you couldn't resist a home-cooked meal. Good for the soul. Chucky, what are you doing, boy?" He goes, "Watching that video machine again? The Daredevil tape, right? I swear, why couldn't I have a son who watches football with me like a normal boy?" He goes, "Sorry, Papa." "Dinner time, boy. Get your hands washed." He goes, "Yes, Papa." So The guy tells Matt, he goes, tapes from one of them TV specials showing when Daredevil clobbered that bullseye in a TV studio. Happened a year or two back. He goes, I heard about it, Matt says. The guy says, yeah, that's right. Guess you couldn't have seen it. Well, you ain't missing nothing, Murdoch. Those TV people look out for any chance to show something violent or worse. So they're talking here. They're going back and forth on it. And he goes, and that's why me and the little lady here joined Citizens Boycott for Morality. Figure somebody's got to help the TV people from turning our children into sex maniacs. Pass Mr. Murdoch the taters, boy. He goes, thanks. How about your case, Mr. Jurgens? Hank, call me Hank. It's a good name. Well, I'm innocent, of course. It's all the fault of Sam Jutter. That bum spreading lies. Boy, pass me the rolls. Because they're convincing lies, Hank. Mr. Jutter says you embezzled thousands. Boy, what did I tell you to pass me? The rolls. And what are these? Beats. You got something to say, boy? I'm sorry, Papa. That's storytelling. His father makes him feel smaller and smaller and smaller. And the father says, I swear, kids these days, no darn good. Jutter's just a jealous bum is all. I got the promotion he was after. He's been sitting on attack ever since. I still don't have those roles, boy. Boy? He goes, boy, you off playing Daredevil again? Answer your papa, boy. He goes, not playing. I am Daredevil. And Miller draws a really great drawing of Murdoch with the inks by Terry Austin. Again, very different than usual stuff. And he goes, Liz, you said you talked to the boy. He said he'd be good. You said he'd be good. He goes, I'm sorry, Hank. Bad enough that boy cries till he's purple whenever we take his videotape away. Bad enough. How am I supposed to make a good impression on Murdoch here when my boy can't so much as pass the rolls without acting crazy? He goes, I'm not crazy, and I am Daredevil. Sometimes. Don't talk back at your papa, boy. But my stomach hurts. Can I go to bed? You'll sit and eat your food and you won't talk crazy, boy. But my stomach. Sorry, Papa. I'm sorry. So it was after dinner that Jurgens showed me his gun. He goes, wish you could see her, Murdoch. She's a beauty, regular peacemaker. And don't you worry none. I got me a license for this baby. Yes, sir. My family's protected. And then Daredevil was in the hospital with Bullseye. He goes, yeah, that Jurgens was a real treat. But it was a son, Chucky, who interested me. I had to understand the effect I had on him. So a few days later, I paid him a visit to his school. And Chucky's telling his friends, he goes, no, you don't remember, because Bullseye hit you on the head. You're the Black Widow, and I'm your partner, Daredevil. He goes, you're weird, Chucky. Come on, let's go play. Yeah, let Chucky go fly somewhere. I can't fly. But I can jump around buildings like Chucky. And Daredevil goes to visit Chucky at his school. He said he seemed to be a sweet enough kid, more in need of some honest fun than anything else. And me, I could have used a round or two of applause. I think he was still hurting about the electric killing, clearly. He goes, so I took Chucky on the ride of his life. Oh, don't stop now. He goes, you're due back at school, Chucky. Yeah, but I mean, I never met you before. I mean, I've been you sometimes. I am, but I never met you. And you're my hero. Yeah, you're excellent. He goes, when somebody gets in your way, you give it to them. Pow! Nobody tells you what to do. You're free. Daredevil's a little bothered by that. And then he puts a gun to his head again. Click. Click. That's 4. He goes, that's 4 out of 6, Bullseye. We're both lucky so far. You know what Chucky said bothered me. But not as much as it should have. I should have gotten him help, professional help. He goes, fact is, I was charmed, not to mention thrilled to find myself admired. So thrilled I didn't look too closely at what I was being admired for. And the last thing I should have done, the very last, was to encourage Chucky's fantasy. That I found out when I went to question the plaintiff in the Jurgens case. So Chucky's there and he goes, psst, Murdoch. He He goes, things could get rough here. You better hang back. He goes, Chucky? He goes, Daredevil. And now I'm on the prowl. You see, that Judder guy has it in for a good guy. I'm going to clear him. He goes, Chucky, you have to listen to me. You're not Daredevil. You can't help your dad. He goes, get in my way and I'll clobber. Huh? Car starting. It's Judder. He's skipping. I better go home, Chucky. Because then I'd do my second dumb deed for the day. I was so curious about where Judder was going this late at night that I forgot about Chucky and dashed off to switch to a DD. Unfortunately, Chucky didn't need to switch. So Daredevil puts a gun under his chin, pulls the trigger, goes, that's 5. Lucky me. Guess this is it, Bullseye, but I'd better finish my story first. Judder rode to Central Park, where both Chucky and I ran into a bit of a surprise. He goes, well, my friend, perhaps you've come to your senses? Because you're trying to squeeze me, Judder. The voice confirmed the identity of the rough silhouette my radar sense provided me, Jurgens. Papa! Get it, Bullseye? Understand? Judder meets Jurgens, they talk, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that, in this case, nobody's clean, except Chucky. He goes, blackmail is what it's called, Jurgens, and you're going to pay it. Else I'm following my accusations with these photostats. Weasel, you won't. You'll just hand them right over, or I'll blow your brains out. He goes, you're joking. He goes, Papa, what? Look at that. Great Tron. He goes, you go on home, boy. Do what your papa says and go on home. Daredevil comes up behind him. What are you going to do, Jurgens? Shoot your own child? He goes, I'll shoot you. I was cocky, Daredevil says, angry. I took my time with Jurgens. My third dumb move. Shocking Chucky. He goes, Chucky was in his own way a devoted son. His father may have been his only tether to reality. So the episode in the park did things to Chucky, bad things. I went to check in on him at home a week later. Can't understand it myself, Mr. Murdoch. All he does is watch that awful video again and again and say such strange things. He goes, Papa's bad, or Daredevil wouldn't have hit him. And if Papa's bad, so am I. On the videotape, as in the TV studio where it was filmed years ago, I won our fight, Bullseye. But in Chucky's mind, the battle raged on. Hank Jurgens' trial cost his family every cent they had, so I put up the money for Chucky's psychotherapy. Months passed, and with them, the trauma, or so we thought. But then, on the day Jurgens was sentenced, one cruel child made one remark too many, and something snapped in Chucky's mind. Lord only knows where he found the gun. Even for children, they're all too easy to come by. It was a .38 caliber revolver, just like his papa's. He shot a kid. Which raised the question, when Chucky pulled the trigger, was he his father? Or was he you, Bullseye? Or was he me? The child Chucky shot survived, by the way. So did Chucky, after a fashion. We won't really know how Chucky is until he starts talking again. So Daredevil goes on, he goes, so I keep asking myself again and again, what made Chucky like he was? What am I giving people by running around in tights and punching crooks? What am I showing them? Am I showing them that good wins out, that crime does not pay, that the cavalry is always on its way? Or am I showing them that any idiot with fists and for brains can get his way if he's fast enough and strong enough and mean enough? Am I fighting violence or teaching it? Or am I to blame at all? Maybe all the blame rests with creatures like you and Jurgens. Perhaps if Chucky had a father like mine. There was a man, Bullseye. He made his son proud. If not for him, there never would have been a Daredevil. You see, the amplified senses, those I had for years before I became Daredevil. And the fighting skills, the acrobatics, they're just tools. But the man, he has to be inspired. As a boxer, battling Jack Murdoch was second-rate, but as a father, and as a man, he was one of the best. And when the time came to prove it, he was ready. All the odds were against him. That fateful night in Madison Square Garden, he hardly stood a chance, and he knew it. He faced a younger fighter, a better fighter. And the gangsters, those fat, sweaty, cigar-smoking monsters who'd catapulted him with fixed fights to a title match when he was years past his prime, they abandoned him. They ordered him to lose the fight or else. Maybe it was because he was out there. Maybe it was because he saw me out there in the crowd. Or maybe it was just his pride. But battling Jack Murdoch found and won the greatest bout of his career. The greatest and the last. He died and showed me what a man is, Bullseye. That's when I put on the costume and began my one-man war on crime. In all the years that have passed, I've held his image before me, shining, untarnished, ... Pauses there. He goes, I'm a liar. My father was far from the best. Oh, he tried. Very, very hard, but he was far from the best. There's another story, another piece of my life buried deep, kept even from those I've held close. Long before he died, when I was just a boy, Dad made me promise to study, to make something of myself in a respectable profession. Mostly he made me promise never to fight. So afraid he was that I'd end up like him. It was tough keeping the promise, and once, just once, I failed. It was Chucky's age. I was Chucky's age when it happened, walking home from school. Hey, Matty boy, why don't you play with us? Oh, leave old Daredevil Murdoch alone. He's got to read. The kids used to call him Daredevil, so I don't think it was that wise for him to call himself Daredevil as an older guy, but, people, they can't put two together because he's blind. But anyway, please, that book, it's expensive. Oh, expensive. Tell you what, Wimpo, I'll give it right back at you. Stymie, Dad paid for that book with the last money he had. Don't you worry, Matty boy. Said I'd give it back to you, and here it comes. Page 1, rip. Page 2, you crummy. Oh! Fight, we gotta fight. It was the first time I ever lost my temper. Felt great. But when I got home, Dad was drunk. What happened to you, Matt? The kids? You ought to see them, Dad. Stymie's got a shiner, and I think I broke Jocko's nose. Look at that drawing. That's Miller for sure, but that's Terry Austin to make it look like something about Terry Austin and his inks. It looks like the old Seeger cartoons, Popeye. It's awesome. It was work my fingers to the bone, take jobs no self-respecting man would take for you, for your future, and you go and fight like a... Dad, you're hurting me. I'll hurt you all right. Bam! Matt, I'm so sorry. Matt goes, I spent the night perched on the Brooklyn Bridge thinking about right and wrong and how even my father could do bad things. How even Dad needed rules to obey, rules, laws. By morning, the course of my professional life was set. I would become an attorney. This is taken literally from Gil Wynand in The Fountainhead, if any of you have read The Fountainhead. Miller sometimes he used names of characters. Taggart as a villain in Atlas Shrugged. He used it for a character in Ronin. Howard Rourke, he used that name for the evil family in Sin City. You got Matt Murdock laughing after he gets fired. Howard Rourke laughs after he gets expelled from school. He was into Ayn Rand. He has since, he used to talk about her a lot, Frank Miller, in his early days, but he hasn't talked about her for years. Anyway, so here we go. He goes, and this is Daredevil to Bullseye. And I guess that's what it all comes down to, Bullseye. When I fight you and beat you and know deep in my heart that I'm right in what I do, when I hate you and your kind so fiercely I could cry, when I see that you are black and evil and have no right to live, when at long last, I've got you set squarely in my sights, and I smell your fear, and it is sweet to smell. When it comes to that one final, fatal act of ending you, my gun has no bullets. Guess we're stuck with each other, Bullseye. Yeah, what a way to go for Miller, because he stopped writing and drawing Daredevil at this point. And then again, it was issue 191. He came back, issue 227, as a writer. And it became a full-blown crime comic at that point. No ninjas, no nothing. Full crime comic with Daredevil and Kingpin. So yeah, this is every issue that they drew, every issue that he wrote and drew of Daredevil. And then there's a second volume. This is Daredevil, I guess, the Omnibus, right? And then there's a second Omnibus, which has Daredevil Born Again, the one I was mentioning, and Daredevil Man Without Fear by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. And then he did a few what ifs, actually, and there was one what if. It was really good. It was with Elektra. I guess it's not here. Huh. I wonder why they don't have that here. And then this is modern Frank Miller with his interpretation of Daredevil and Elektra. Not as good. That's actually old one. It's really good. That's horrifically bad. Oh my God. Oof. Terrible pose. Limp body. Look at his ridiculous fists. Looks pretty fruity. That's not Daredevil. Lee Weeks did that. That's awesome. Frank Miller did that one. It's a little better. He also did this cover. A little strange. That's Klaus Janson full. Another Klaus Janson. It's a similar thing. I wonder why they did that. And then this is John Romita Jr. I did a video about John Romita Jr. a few days ago. Check it out if you haven't. So thanks for joining me here. These are, I think, the two greatest single-issue stories that... Interesting. Look at this. This is Frank Miller's pencils, right? Because after issue 181, I believe Miller was just writing it and doing breakdowns. Really loose drawings, right? They were suggestive more than anything else. And Klaus Janson did the finished work, the penciling, inking, coloring. I mean, talk about, that's an entirely different drawing. Wild, huh? These are Miller's roughs. And these are what Janson made of them. Some of them were pretty tight to it. Some of them were very, very different. But yeah, so it's great stuff. Great stuff. All right, everyone. So yeah, it's issue 181. I think his single greatest issue that he did on his Daredevil run. Well, take care, be well, and then I'll see you soon. I think I'm going to look at some of my old comics, the physical comics that I have in my boxes, to see some real nuggets and discuss them, some rare comics you may have never seen. And also, I plan on showing you why Alex Toth is the greatest comic book artist of all time. I can tell you about it till the end of days, but I'm going to show you why. I think his art makes a case. I don't know what more I can add to it. I'm going to show you I have many books about Toth. You know, even like 20 years ago, there were books about Toth more so than other artists. And that's almost how you can tell how revered he is as an artist. But yeah, so I'm going to go through some of those hardcover, massive books that I have of Toth and show you, make the case why he's the greatest. Until then, take care, everyone. Thanks.